Now, today we will do a lot of fun things. Now, this was a question I know you all asked last time about how can we use art in day-to-day life, which is something that is actually very valid. All art that we make is not for putting up on a wall. Some things should actually find its way into our daily lives. So, kitchen is a great place to start. Kitchen is also a great place for a lot of art to enter, because if it's watercolor, it will there will be splashes, there will be all sorts of problems with what you put in the kitchen. So expect that damage, and don't put some really fancy art out there and then feel something you spent hours and days making and then feel bad that it got exposed. Okay, but do fun stuff that you can replace when it gets ruined. Okay, the other thing is you can make personalized stuff. So labels are a great way to spice up anything. Labels for books, labels for containers, all that. So you may want to not repeat the same label many times. If you've made a set of labels which are unique, which have a unique pattern and design, you may not want to recreate it every single time you replace the label, or want to give an entire set of labels to somebody but still have a copy with you. Make a copy on a sheet of paper, make some illustrations. And if this is an A4 sheet, classic, printer size, then you can take the sheet as it is, go to the printer and simply ask him to make a color printout of it. That's it. Color printouts are not very expensive. And nowadays you get it on normal paper, like normal, slightly glossy. All right, we're back. There's one reason I'm happy Aditi is back. It's because I'm tired of these. So now, where were we? So here, this concept is having this kind of an illustration where we're hanging things off the rack. We're doing that now for vessels that can be put on a shelf. Okay. So this is another approach. Now here, what you could do is you could have a different layout. You could have something like ingredients and method. This is another layout. And your ingredients go here in one side column. And the method will go over here, longer. Okay. This is another layout. It's up to us to choose what layout we would like. Okay. So shall we do something? Which one would you like to try? Something like this or something like this?
I like the first one.
This one?
The first one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in that case, we are going to have some markers. So one is recipe for. Okay, we are going to have to write that over here. Recipe for. I'm going to just draw lines in the center. Recipe for, and this is my line for. This should be sufficiently large because most people's recipes do not fit. Like, it's not a small thing, right? It's banana pancake, 2-word recipe, sometimes Spanish chicken, whatever. So it should be sufficiently long. Keep that in mind. But the first line is where we're going to write in with pen recipe for something. Okay. From the sides, let's decide to put a few tools. Now I'm just looking at tools, kitchen tools. So there are many, if you look at Pinterest, you will find so many options. Pots, pans, all sorts of things. So let's take maybe something that's pottery based. Yeah, this is nice. So we can put in an illustration here for a few cups. And this would make sense. Suppose we put cups over here, stacked one on top of the other. On the other side, we could have a kettle. Yeah, it would make sense to have a kettle. So that means we have to draw some cups. And inside that cup, there's another one. And that's slightly angled. Keep that angle in mind. I'm doing this in pencil so that we can go back and put in the pen outline later.
Would you be able to post this on our
Yeah.
group, and then maybe we can look at it.
Yes, I'll take this one.
Yeah.
I'll post this one. I'll also put a salt shaker. We can use a salt shaker at any time. I'll look for a kettle. Oh, this looks cute. Even this looks cute. This is thinner. So we'll take a thinner kettle. Thinner, yeah. Then I'll get some spoons also. Okay, we have a few usable items. So let's start with the kettle. Let's put the kettle, and we're going to keep it roughly the same height as these cups. So they have to come somewhere here. So that's my kettle height. Doesn't have to be perfect. Huh? These illustrations are very quirky. So we have a kettle, we have cups. And after this, so here we are going to write, what are we going to write? Recipe for. Recipe for could be written in faux calligraphy, or you can write it in block letters. Now, when we write the name, someone wants to write the name of the title there, it is likely they will write it in capitals, all caps. So you want it slightly different from what you are writing, whatever you're using for recipe. So maybe uh, what do you call it? I'm trying to think what kind of lettering we should use. I think our engrossers would be enough. Like, Yeah. I think something like this should be enough. Let's see.
Can't make
And
out
the-
the pencil marks at all.
Yeah, can't make out. Okay. Fine.
I don't know where the cups are. I've done them on the side, I think lower than the title. Are they in the same line as your title, the cups?
No, they're not. They're not. They're not. They're
Okay.
below.
Okay.
So my title is over here,
Okay.
and I have drawn this line slightly wonky. Yeah, this is better. So let me just go ahead and I'm
And
going to
your
use a
kettle
pen
is
and
also below, or is it on the same?
yeah, wait. I'm going to put it all in pen. Okay,
Okay.
I'm going to go with pen because if we wait for everything to get done, normal running hand will also look very pretty on this. Huh? Recipe. Don't have to make it very elaborate. Or and leave that. And here's my cup. I'm going to go directly in with ink. Doing this directly develops a lot of confidence about illustrating directly in ink. So don't hesitate. Don't shy away from trying in ink. My kettle is here. There may be mistakes, and so what? Let it be. Okay. There's the... And now here, I'm going to go in like this. Recipe 4, and whoever's writing the recipe will have to write the title over here. Okay. Then you can have ingredients and method. Ingredients and method could be spaced out. Actually, you know what? Since we have so much of space and we would like to separate the name from the ingredients, let's add a few more elements to our recipe. So one of the elements, I'm looking at the pictures we have here. One of these elements is spoons and forks. Okay, so we can have something lying close by. For example,
Susan, since we are doing tea and cups, why not continue with the same theme as a sugar pot and some
okay, yeah. So
I know,
let me
I'm
just
thinking aloud. I don't know.
yeah. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. So let me think of tea accessories. Let's see. That may give us some. Yeah. So for example, a strainer. Looking at a strainer.
Even the fabric, right? The cozies, the tea cozies.
Tea cozies also, yeah. But tea cozies now, what's going to happen is it's rather large. We are going to have to fit that somewhere. Let's look at coasters or let me see what else. Sugar, let me see. Sugar container, sugar jar. Okay, yeah. So sugar jars are nice. We have some examples here. Sugar jars. Okay. So sugar jar is one. Tea bags are another. Let me think of tea bags. Okay, I'm going to keep a picture of tea bags out here. About that. What else? Sugar, tea bags.
Some cookies, a plate with some cookies. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, this is a good picture. Maybe we can just. So we've got a few usable items now. Let me just. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Take a look. What we could do here is add a few of these embellishments. So this is definitely one we could have. This is the tea strainer. Okay. It's this way. And then it has a now the tea strainer, if you have a smaller pen, meaning something like a size 0.1 or something like that, you could show these. You know, the lines. Put a few lines like this and do the cross hatching and they will look like a strainer. Don't have to do all, or if you want to do all, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing all. Okay, that's a tea strainer. Then what else? So if you're going to have some cookies or, oh, wait, tea bags. We need some tea bags. So let's put a few tea bags this way, sideways.
Can we hang them onto that line?
On this line?
I thought.
But
maybe.
if we,
It's
yeah,
too
but
messy now, too much, and then the
yeah,
title
and then
will
it will get confused. So the
Yeah.
person will not know what to do with that line. So
Yeah.
let's just
Yeah.
make them sit here only.
Yes.
But I'm going to make them slightly angular.
Yeah.
This way.
Yeah.
Put that pin in the middle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
should indicate that it is tea.
Very much. Very nice.
Oh, suspended. And one more thing we could put is sugar. Now the sugar jar should be bigger, but let's make it small for here for this exercise. Let's make it only this big. Not too big. We'll just keep it a little small. And far from perfect. You'll see my proportions are very, very off. And that's
My
fine.
kettle is so tiny, you wouldn't even get half a cup of tea. So not to
Few of the designs we have on our cups can be drawn out. So here I can see a leaf and a bud of some sort over here. Some design. Over here I can see a definite flower. And in fact, it's quite a artsy flower. And our teapot also is pretty. Very quirky. Very quirky. Okay. I'm just altering the design as it suits me. But if you want to copy the design as is, please go ahead and do that. All right, now that this is done, we can fit in the word ingredients, and I'd like to keep this recipe font, same thing, whatever you used here, if you can keep that consistent for the word ingredients and for the word method, it'll be nice. Then it kind of shows some sort of what shall we say, cohesiveness, relatedness, like we've bothered to keep something consistent. I'm sitting at a funny angle, so I'm not getting this line of mine right. That's why I'm going to draw this in pencil. I don't like writing off. Yeah. Over here, I'm going to say and here we could write method. All right. So our center point is somewhere here. In pencil, I just draw this as a guide. Thereafter, I'm just drawing horizontal lines, keeping a little space on both sides. See? So now you'll notice it's already off a bit. If you want more space, add more space. I'm not bothering to even measure the lines, whether they are equally spaced or not. What I've noticed is that if you do measure, it looks nice. It looks very, like, it looks perfect. In fact, it looks very perfect. With hand illustration, if you're going with these kind of illustrations where we are drawing directly in ink and stuff like that, there's going to be some what would I say, free-handedness about your illustration. There is no point, there's no problem in extending that free-handedness even in your lines. So if you wanted to do this completely without a ruler, it's perfectly fine. It gives it a nice look. Because nowadays we have everything so perfectly done on the computer. These things actually look nice. Okay, so there's your... Now, reason I wrote all this down is because we will now have some gaps. These gaps need to be filled. Okay, so method will be a long line. And as you come lower and lower, you could consider if you want to use one corner to add something. Is there anything we're missing about this tea concept that we decided to take, something that we can use? Tea cozy was one. We could have a tea cozy here. But again, a tea cozy goes over a teapot, right? So now this is a great gift to make for someone who's a let's say a good cook. Maybe someone who constantly shares their recipes. There are some people who are very, very, very kind-hearted. You ask them for any recipe, they will give it to you instantly. You know?
Maybe newlyweds,
Yeah,
because they don't know how to cook and be grateful for a simple, well, not all of them don't know how to cook, but some of them.
Yeah.
They may be grateful
Correct.
for a simple cake recipe or
Yes,
cookies,
absolutely.
you know, it's a nice gift.
It is. So let me put, you know what, the cookies that we planned a bunch of cookies, right? We have the cookies here, these cookies. Okay, so let's consider putting.
Maybe, Susan, a cake, a simple cake, which would be also nice. Whatever, cookies are fine.
Yeah, cookies. The only reason I said we'll do the cookies because it has a plate. So even a cake, let me just see if I can see a cake. Tea and cake is also a great option. Tea and cookies, tea and cake.
Plain cake. Let's go with the cookies now, Susan.
So I'm going to have that coming out from this side here. So let's draw the plate in. Now the cookies here are shaped rather funny. I would probably go with those, you know, the Marie biscuit sort, which have a little shape like the plate itself.
Yeah, or chocolate chip like that. Yeah,
these are madeleines.
Something that has holes like this. You can choose to have even the bourbon type of biscuit and put dots on it. You could consider having.
the holes one is nice because it's like the short crust. You know, just a few holes on top, which is good to bake too, which is bakeable.
Yeah. That's true. We could consider, since we have a full plate, there is no harm in putting
assorted.
Assorted stuff, right? Exactly. So maybe what else? I'm trying to think what are the biscuits, very peculiar stuff.
These madeleines are nice. Those langue de chats also. The ones in the picture, that's nice too.
What are these called?
Madeleines, right? I think
the shape is very specific for madeleines.
I see. I've never had these. Now we could just get these lines in at certain places. See, it would indicate that we have even as dotted lines, the shape of the plate starts to show. Here we can put more stuff. I don't mind putting what looks like a slice of cake. And more of these curvy cookies. Yeah, should be enough. So from a corner of your page, if you have something like this sticking out, what happens is before we draw the remaining lines of our method, we should do this so that we can now add these lines carefully. So they stop over here, right? And that's the important part. Don't let your lines go too low. We could keep this space free because invariably there may be a note to add, something important, something you want to add. So leave that little space over there without an illustration, without anything. Okay. Now here we could consider this white space here could have something in it. Now that something has to be now related to what we have here. Let me look at our pictures. What can we incorporate? You know what? I like this spoon, this curvy one. Hold on, let me just draw it. But if it's only a spoon, another thing we could probably have put over here are those cute teacups. You know, since we've gotten into the tea concept, those glass ones. The ones that have those lines. Cutting chai type. Could draw those
Yeah,
here.
yeah, those small ones. Very sweet those are. Yeah.
You could consider putting those. We could put also, by the way, we could have nut, these, I know these look like coffee beans, but eventually if you were to draw nutmeg, not nutmeg, sorry, cardamom, these little motifs will also look very pretty. Okay. We could have under something a cloth. A cloth can go sit under this. See, lots of little things. So there could be a cloth, a coaster. Coasters are nice. So if you want to have under this, let's say, I'm just thinking out loud, a coaster sitting on the yeah, we could have a coaster. Just a wooden block. And here we could consider having that spoon I was talking about. I don't know if it is here. No, I'm out of ideas for spoons.
Beautiful decorative golden ones, which you just serve with the tea.
The teaspoons, you mean?
Yeah, the decorative ones
Yeah,
in gold.
You're right. Teaspoons.
Even
Yeah,
instead of
yeah,
the cup, you even get these milk pots. They're very pretty. They're
yeah.
small, porcelain. I made one.
Oh, you did? Oh, let's see. Let me see. Hold on. Hold on, Janita. I'll just spotlight you. Okay. Yeah. Like little, like tiny kettles, like tiny, cup kettle mix. Correct.
Very
Yeah,
small.
you're right. Very small. Correct. Actually, if we had thought it through, we could have had a milk jug like this. This would have been really cute, right? So yeah, but that's fine. It's okay. Next recipe. Next recipe, you add all these little embellishments you left out from the previous one. That's fine. It's okay. We'll look at teaspoons and try and put one spoon over here at least. And since you said that, Janita, I think this kind of a spoon, which is little ornamental, it goes like this. And then it goes very thin and narrow and dainty. And then it has this fancy shape over here. Looks funny now. All right, we'll put some. What else? I'm trying to think what are this.
You know what? My scale is all wrong, and all the things. Sorry, 1 second. My scale is all wrong. So I think my sugar and teapots and all are very small. So they
So
don't
show me,
look nice,
Ellen,
you know.
show me.
They
Show
don't
me.
look nice because it's not kind of planned.
Let me see.
My scale is also very poor, you know. I mean, it doesn't look nice. Everything is of not the right size. So I think I
No,
need to draw it out before I ink it, you know.
Yeah. No, that is definitely one option. The other option is, no, Ellen, don't make everything like did you draw the lines just now? Last?
No. I drew the lines and then I wrote ingredients and method and put in some milk jugs and cups and stuff.
Okay, no, I'm asking whether the illustration came first or the lines came first.
The lines.
The lines came first. So, okay. So you should
No, I'm
then
just not getting the scale. Like now I'm looking at yours, everything is looking very proportional. It fills up the space, you know. So that
Right.
I need practice about making it bigger, like not
Yeah.
tiny.
Yeah, no, the other thing is I feel what we do very often, and so it's not because it is the mostly because we are used to drawing individual items. We
Yes.
tend to want to keep, like, for example, a kettle away from a strainer and a strainer away from this. Okay, we want everything to have its own individual space.
Right.
Don't have to do that. Now, if you feel, you can still do this with your work. What you can do is add a new element, but it has to sit behind one of the elements that you already have. So, like, for example, I added this coaster.
Yes.
Before the coaster came, this guy was sitting separate and this cup was sitting separate. But once I brought the coaster in, now they are all
become like a little picture
of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have now added, see, honestly, if you just take this much, if I look at just the ones that are in front here, I cannot sense any depth or dimension to this. They are all sitting on the same plane. But the moment I add this, it feels like my cup is in front and my glass is in front, but my cup's at the back. You get that? So see whether in your drawing, whether you can add an element that will make it look like one is in front, one is at the back. Now, another thing I could consider for this, okay, is a doily. You know these doilies that come? Little round things, and they've got nice, pretty circles on them. And a little ring. So now my kettle is sitting on a doily. Okay. So this now suddenly my kettle is behind and my strainer is in front and the doily has made a difference. So these things, Elaine, consider putting some table mat, a napkin. It could be a folded napkin. See now, for example, you have, I'm just going to show you, let's say a bowl. This is a bowl. You drew a bowl and it is sitting there isolated. And now you have, let's say you next to it, you put spoon. Okay, a spoon, let's say a spoon. Now they are looking quite separated. At this point, you could consider putting a napkin on which it is sitting. Okay, so the spoon and this thing are sitting on a napkin. So let's draw this napkin here. Okay, and let's add some fold. Now here there's a fold. Then there is another piece of that napkin that comes here and sits here. Okay, add some kind of these kind of elements such that, and then on these elements, you can have some embellishments. So for example, if you have a motif that goes, even if it's like a flower, a small flowery motif that goes along the edge of the napkin. Now it moves up a little bit because your edge is moved. The small motif continues everywhere. Sometimes it is here because this is the end of the other. Now adding this also, so for example, even adding lines. I'm going to add lines to this napkin. And the lines are going to move very differently. Now here it is moving this way, here it is moving. You see what I'm saying? Now here it is moving downward. Then you want to make check marks out of these if you want checks. All of these will add to the character of whatever you have placed. Now suddenly the bowl and the spoon are not sitting like two separate objects. Yeah. So don't think that it is. I feel, if you ask me, when we place our first few elements, they will always look very out of place and very what do you call it, unrelated to each other. They're just sitting like elements. Okay, here's my teapot, here's my cup, here's my this thing. Very unrelated. You just place them on the table. Now, when you put in these little elements next to it, that is when they become joined. Okay. So see whether you can add something. Yeah. Now I am done with this. I actually wanted to put one honey ka, those Winnie the Pooh always has. What do they call them? This thing. So something like that over here. I'm not sure what they're called.
It's called a honey dipper.
Really, that's it?
Yeah, that's what's showing. Wood honey dipper.
I see. Now, when you draw a honey dipper like this, it's very easy to just draw that honey as well. Right? It's not the honey dipper that's so great. It is the honey dipper with the honey that makes it nice. Right? And something as simple as this can make for an excellent start. You could choose not to do anything to this. Leave this as it is. And you can still make a copy of this and use this as a recipe card. If you want, we'll go in with watercolor. Do you want to go in with watercolor? Yeah? Make this prettier? So if you're making this prettier, minor watercolor things here and there, and that's it. Nothing great. Our illustration is not so fancy that we need a lot of watercolor. So simple watercolor, small brush, nothing big. First of all, I will put in some bright colors for the kettle. Kettle is red, I think. It was scarlet. I'm going to go in with scarlet. So, oops. Somewhere in the middle of the kettle. Start from the edge because your paint is going to be the most concentrated when you put it down on paper first. So start from the edge and then move toward the center. And as you come to the center, consider putting your paint has become now thinner. Okay. Consider making a line going through the pot. See, I'm going to stop over here. Basically, I'm stopping my illustration, my paint here at this point. And I'm going to leave a small white line running through that area. So top I'll cover up. Top is okay. Let the top be. But here I'll run a white line. Let my paint be nice and diluted. And now go in with more paint and add it to the corner. What this is going to do is give it a little bit of a shine feel. See, as if it's got a small bit of shine. So start from the ends. Now this is making the end look a little darker, which is right. We want the curved portion of the jar to be, of the kettle to be darker. But that lighter color and the white line in between will be very nice. Here I'm not looking at the picture. I should look at the picture. Ah, very pretty, Janita. I didn't see the spoons. We could do that. Let me see. Here also, one small line. See, small line like this doesn't hurt. And finally, on top, again, the ends will be dark. Okay. But as you come to this portion where we had left a line, lighten your paint. And leave the same, roughly the same place, we should have a line here. Finally, we have a red and black handle. So a little bit of red here and a little bit of black on the outer part of the handle. That's it. All right. The rim over here also has a little bit of black, but only if your paint has dried. Okay. I don't have space for a top, so I didn't leave it. I didn't bother drawing it in. Okay. That's done. Now this thing, while your paint is still black, lighten the black, make it just like grayish, and just put a line on this. A line on this. And when you're putting these small lines, a little white space will be nice. Like a sliver of white line will be nice to indicate shine. But it'll be just a sliver. Just a sliver. Then where else? The doily can remain white. It's not a problem. This is also white. Everything is white actually. Sugar. I'm going to go with the brown here. Is brown. Now the block, the coaster is actually wood. So I'm going to go in with yellow ochre. A wash of yellow ochre. And at the edge, a little bit of burnt umber along this edge, just a bit. Oh, too much. Pick it up. If it's too much, pick it up with a clean brush. Yeah. This one is again transparent. Yeah, not turning out to be very colorful. Let's see about the cups. Cups could be a little fun. I'm going to do the top cup first. Again, it's a reddish orange. So I'm going to mix a little bit of gamboge into it and put the outside color gambogish, orangish. And the inner part of the cup seems to be more red. So we can put more scarlet and do the inside of the cup. Outer part is yellow. On this side, nobody's looking at your reference, so don't be under this thing that you have to capture everything in your reference photo. Nobody who's going to get this recipe card knows what you looked at. Green, the base is green, the leaves are green. And then small bit of red over here. That's it. We need some gray. So gray will be the grays are ultramarine blue and burnt umber will give us our gray. Wash gray. So very, very light. Oops, too dark. This is for our now here I'm going to draw the shadow below like this because the strainer is sitting off the ground, right? A little bit here. Anything else? The blue, if we have a little, just a smidge of blue, just a small bit, make it super watery and hint over here. But this is optional. It's basically to make that glass look like it's sitting up. Same gray can be used even here. Here we could even consider putting some chai in it. So if you want chai color, yellow ochre with little burnt umber will give you chai color. And when you're painting in this chai, just leave a slight outline of white. Just a bit. Coming down to the honey. Honey is goldish, so I'm going to keep that yellow ochre-ish color. The honey. This is just gray. I'm just applying gray. And this is little darker brown. Burnt umber. Oh, too dark. So alternate rings will have this line. That's it. That's it. Coming down to cookies. I'll keep the plate pink as we had in the reference because there's no pink. There's no other element, right? That we don't have anything bright on this page. So I'm going to keep that pink. For the pink, we'll take crimson. But we will take crimson. Let me just clean this palette. It's such a mess. There. For all the effort we put into painting, I, for one, can never clean a palette. I will sit in one small corner somewhere, struggling to make space for one color, but I will not paint, will not clean the palette. All right, so here with that watery shade of crimson, I'm going on the outer part of the scallops and on the underside. Then with that same brush and no more pigment, I'll drag down this color. It's going to get lighter and lighter. I'm just dragging it down so that the brightest pink was at the top and everything else is now very dull pink. The base of this thing could be a little darker. See this underside. This is the underside, by the way. This could be a little darker. There's no harm. Now, biscuits and cookies are almost all either yellow ochre or burnt umber ka mix. So keep both the colors there at the side. Pick your burnt umber according to, now this is the bourbon. Then we have, what were these called? I forget. So much to learn.
Madeleines.
Madeleines. Like the name Madeline. Hmm. Next one, I'm going to put in a little bit of yellow ochre and burnt up. Oh, sorry for this one. Mix of the two. Yellow ochre and burnt umber a little bit. And for this last one, maybe I'll put burnt umber and a little bit of black, but wash consistency. Chocolate cake. Here too, if you go in with your gray, the gray that we made with the ultramarine blue and burnt umber, if you go in with that gray, you can put a slight shadow. Oh, we forgot the shadows here. This thing has a shadow. Spoon definitely has a shadow. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to put a little bit of gray over here, just on the side. That's it. So very simple, but does the job. Okay. If you're gifting this to someone, you can personalize it a little bit more by saying, now suppose I'm giving this to my mom, I will probably write Sarah's recipe for. And then what happens with that when you put that little personalization is how many ever copies you give. Suppose you make 5 copies of the sheet and cut it up and give 10 recipe cards. All 10 recipe cards will have that personalization, and that person can use those 10 recipe cards for giving anybody. So whoever they give, whatever recipe, their name will be there on the top of it, right? So it will be Sarah's recipe for Spanish chicken, Sarah's recipe for something else, whatever. And their handwriting, and it's very nice. Some people also like to have a date at the bottom. If you feel that, I would like to collect recipes with a date, then please put that element in here too. Okay. Now, since with the remaining time we have, which is just a few minutes, I'd like to make a few labels. Okay. And labels are great fun since we are not going into really fantastic labels. We are just looking at simple stuff, things we can cut off from even this book here and paste onto our jars. Okay. For labels, one is, of course, our elements of these banners and things like that, right? So one element is this, this shape. This is a very pretty shape for a label. You've seen it on far too many labels to not like it, right? And another great shape is what Aditi has in her book, which is what I did last time. This one. So these shapes, if you can practice and keep, they're very handy for whatever label work you want to make. Now, next to these, we are going to add some illustrations. Okay. One more label style that you can do is this. Make a rectangle and put scallops. I think this also I had done last time. I mean, I copied it for something. Put little dots in them for fun, making it almost like a biscuit or a doily. Okay. Now let's take any of these shapes and make one salt and pepper, just for salt and pepper. Okay. So for salt, I want to share with you the picture of a salt shaker. Did I share it already? Yeah, I think I've shared it on the group. There's a salt shaker in the group. So what you should do about the salt shaker, draw it as you see it. Now here's my salt shaker. I'm going to have a curve on top, and that same curve extends shallow on this side. Below it are a few rings that are like almost concentric rings, not concentric, parallel rings, not concentric, parallel rings, indicating the curves on a salt shaker. Next, where these things stop, we have to show an angle in the bottle. Okay. And thereafter, the bottle has a shape. So it's an outward going shape. So see, it's not straight. It is slightly wider at the base. Okay. Now, before you proceed with the angles at the bottom, I would recommend that you draw the angles on the top. If you look at this salt shaker, if you look closely at it, there is one angle, 2, 3, 4, and 5 goes behind. So let's not do the 5. We want an angle that comes downward on both sides, like this. And then there should be an angle here and an angle here. So this is what we are trying to mimic down also. So here we are going to have a line, a dotted line. And here we're going to have again some dashes indicating. And then the base should reflect this top. So the base also must show these angles, but they'll be slightly wider. So far, you've got the shape of the bottle, but what makes it a glass bottle is the thickness of the glass itself. So we must show this thickness. See at the bottom, this thickness, the curve. Then over here again, you have a curve and it goes up. You have a slight thickness here. Same way here, slight thickness. And these thickness at the curves, if you indicate straight away, it looks like a glass bottle, right? Over here, I see that same thickness coming down here. Over here, in fact, there are lots of these little lines. This is a salt shaker that's full, but you don't have to have a full salt shaker. You can have something that has a line going partially around. And with a few dots. On top, very, very important, are these holes. Very important. Because without this, the identifying factor about that salt shaker is not there. Remember, the holes at the top are now starting to curve. So don't make them full round. If you make them all round like this, then it will look flat as if it's facing you. Not all the holes are facing to you, right? So if you look at the top holes, they are virtually not even holes, visible holes. They're like almost dots. So I've kept them oblique, slightly oval shaped, and they become almost black. So keep that, maintain that. That's it. Now what we should do is, this is our, by the way, this is our label. So we want to have some part of our label is going to be behind and some part of it is going to be in front. So I'm going to go with this label first. So imagine that my salt shaker is sitting on this side of the label. What is going to happen if the salt shaker is covering this part of the label? We are only going to be left with this aspect. So remember, we are now drawing this label sticking out from behind the salt shaker. So draw a nice straight line. Okay. Draw your curves neatly and draw the vertical. This becomes a little prettier if we decide to do a double line. I love double lines. Whatever you might say, double lines just make everything so much prettier. So put a double line. Okay. And write in your best lettering. I'm not going to, so this is where I love to experiment. I love to experiment. Everything does not have to be copper plate and engrossers and stuff like that. You can have some very quirky lettering. I love lettering like this. See, this is also borrowed from Aditi a lot because she does this often. Misaligned ones particularly. She doesn't do misaligned. I do misaligned. I love misaligned letters like this. There's something about it is very charming to me. Okay. Unfortunately, salt cannot be colored. It is white. We can't do much about it. So I'm just going to use a few shades of that Aditi's gray, of the gray that we are used to making so often. And I'm going to just put it on certain corners of the salt shaker. So here, for example, I see a line. It's so light, you can barely see my gray, but it's there. See, like this. Look at the picture and see where all you can see that gray. I can see it here, some bits here, definitely on the outer edge. Now with a slightly darker gray, I'll put a little black into that. I'm also going to do these. Here I'm going to be, she always tells us, no, leave that little bit of a white space in between. These white spaces are so important. Not everything has to be covered in a color. It's the white spaces that give you that make the shine come in. Corners are usually darker, corners and curves. That's it. What you can brighten is the lettering. So if you feel that the lettering could be bright, so be it. Crimson for me. It could be blue, any color. Or no color at all. That's also fine. Okay. And the same gray, I'm going to put on the border here. Light gray. That's it. Cut this out, paste it on your salt. If you don't have a shaker, if it's just like I have a box for salt, I don't even have a shaker. Half the time in cooking, I'm just putting my hand in it and sprinkling salt. So shakers work only on the table. In the kitchen, you may not even have a shaker. It may be just a container. Just place it onto that container and that's it. Okay. So you can cut this nicely around the border of this entire thing. Don't make it like a square. Cut it along the border of the shape and leave an outline. Like don't start cutting it directly on the line. Leave a nice thick outline. Like if you're cutting, leave at least this much of an outline. Okay. Leave at least this much of an outline so that there is a white border around your cutting. Don't make it don't cut it along the black line. Okay. Salt. I recently made this for my mom and I want to show it to you. It's basically, she wanted, she was making a lot of jam. And so what she asked me for date, not jam, no, jam. She was making mulberry jam. Lot of mulberry jam because they had too much of mulberry and they couldn't save it. So she made like 8 jars of mulberry jam or 10 jars, I'm not sure. And she wanted to label every one of them as Sarah's mulberry jam. So she asked me, can you just make something that I can just stick on this, And so I drew. So the jam jars are like this. I mean, like my water jar right now. The jam jars are like this size, right? And they have a round lid. So she wanted something that could go on the lid. She said, make something round so I can put it on the lid. Or if it is round, it can go on the side, but then this can get rubbed off. So why not put it on the lid? And anyway, she was reusing jars, so she didn't want the name of the jar to be, So what I did was I actually created, and I don't have the space here. Maybe I can do it on a piece of paper. Let me just do it on a piece of paper. I won't, I'm looking for a piece of paper. I can, there, okay, very nice. I have a sheet. Okay. So what I did was I actually took a circular shape. This is my jar. This is my lid. Obviously, I need a shape that is within the size of this lid, no? So any round shape. I don't have too many shapes, but I have this. A bit small. Draw a circle. And I decided to put her name on the top and the bottom. So Sarah's Jam, I decided to make it top and bottom. So I put a horizontal line here. That's my circle, okay? Circle is here. Let me show you the circle. And I wrote the word mulberry in here. So mulberry could be and then jam. So oh, mistake. This happens to me all the time, by the way. I miscalculate. I only calculated Sarah. I didn't calculate the S. So that's fine. We'll just put a circle there. And we had jam. So A M. Now what you can do with this is simple. You take a solid color of I'm going with crimson. Sorry, not crimson, scarlet. Although mulberry is purple, so you could go consider doing purple. If it's a strawberry, you can do this. Mulberry, you can do purple. Give this a nice solid color. And the other part, I decided to do green. Okay, I took green. And I did vertical, sorry, oops, wrong place to start. Should have started from somewhere here. I drew these lines. Just green. And then after they dry, actually you have to wait till it dries. If you go and you put the same green, but it has to be light because now you've written your lettering, and you don't want that to get covered up. So I made something like this. It's quite light here, but once you make this, you make copies of it, or you make different versions of it, colors of it. Sometimes you can do polka dots. Okay, I made a full sheet. made copies of it and gave it to my mom. And she would cut out every time she would have to make a thing. She'll cut it and she'll paste it, this thing, on top of her jar and give it that. Okay. What you can do if you feel condensation will affect it and all that, it does affect. If you put in the fridge, it does, because this is watercolor, right? Then don't give the original watercolor, because the original watercolor is the one that will bleed. Make a copy of it and give the copy. The copy will not bleed. Okay, the printer ink will not bleed as much as your. It may still bleed if it gets wet and all that, but this will bleed faster. Okay, make a copy and paste it, and that's it. Your jam has a very pretty sticker. So this kind of stuff, no, you can do at home anytime for all the stuff you have in the house. Making a recipe card that is specific to you. If you feel that you want a recipe card, make 10 of those and keep. And anytime someone asks for your favorite recipe, there it is. There's my recipe card. Becomes very unique, right? So that's what we should do with useful. I mean, make our art useful. Make it,
Yeah.
you know,
Very
we have
nice.
to find ways. We have to find ways to make it useful, not the. And wherever we can avoid getting. So by the way, I have done this even for you know, what do they call this, return labels, when you want to have your address on a label.
Okay.
So instead of ordering an address, what I have done is I have written out something like this and very neatly written out my name and my address and everything in that little space, made copies of it and printed it. So what happens with that is you cut it out and use it on any postal mail, whatever mail that goes out, Christmas cards, you know, you need to have a sender address. Make these little things for yourself. Sender address.
That's a good
Those
idea.
sender addresses. Yeah.
Sender
And if
address
you,
is a good thing to do. Yeah.
yeah, and it's a good thing, like if you have it, like, you know, now for me personally, I send a lot of Christmas cards. So I know that I need at least 30 of these for Christmas time. And so what I can do is I can make them Christmassy. The motifs, the colors can all be very Christmassy. Even this now, for example, if I want to have something like this for my sender, this thing, I can have a bauble or a tree or something put there, my address at the side, you know, and then just simply cut it out, use it, cut it out, use it, and make copies of it. So the thing about doing it once and making copies is you don't have to get bogged down by the repetition of it. Make your best designs and then just make copies of it. And then you're using so what is happening? Your illustration is going forward, but you are not getting bogged down by the repetitive act of making. That's what it is. Yeah?
Very nice. Yeah. Thanks.
So that's what art can be used for, day-to-day stuff. I'm going to see if I can make one of these for my mom. My mom loves to, she loves to make all sorts of baked stuff. So
does she make Spanish chicken?
My mother-in-law makes Spanish chicken. Yes.
And we need that recipe on your next recipe thing. Of course.
No. It's there. It's already there. It's already there in the recipe book. Last year's recipe. You know, the cookbook that we illustrated?
Not in the one that I have.
Yeah. I think the second volume.
Second volume I have.
You have second volume?
That is the one we did our recipes in. At
then
least
you will find it there.
Anita, the one with that beautiful fan and all was the second one.
Bigger one, no? The bigger sized one.
Yeah.
Yes. So that has Spanish chicken. Try that out.
Lovely.
It's a lovely Spanish chicken. Fabulous.
Okay. I'll try that.
Enjoy the sessions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I've put my this time's work. You'll see it didn't, after putting the little embellishments, then it not looking too bad.
Let's see. One minute.
Look
Janita,
at
let me
that.
see.
Yeah.
One minute. Let me
Is it
spotlight.
visible?
Yeah. Very nice, Janita. Very lovely.
Very nice.
So for the honey, suppose you want to do this for honey, that stick with the oozing honey is nice, huh? The honey stick.
Yeah.
The honey stick is very nice.
Even the jars are so pretty. Have you seen the porcelain ones?
Oh,
yeah. I have
trying
one.
to do
I
that.
have to show it to you.
Even I have, but it's right inside.
Yeah, this.
I know you never use these things.
La Crusade, the La Crusade one with with the, oh God, the honey
Oh,
stick. Yeah.
how cute.
Isn't it lovely with the bee? Look at the bee and
Yeah,
the
I
little
have a
cute.
similar one
well.
with the bee.
So cute.
So
They're
cute.
beautiful.
And the cover design is so beautiful, na? The
They have a
like you said.
Yeah.
they have that slot for putting that spoon. It's so
Yeah,
Spoon. I
cute.
know. I
everything. See
know.
how beautiful the
Yeah.
slot. I love the
It's really pretty.
cover.
I
Just
know.
so
Yeah, yeah,
nicely
yeah.
done. Yeah.
It's very pretty.
You should draw
Very
it.
pretty.
Yes, I will. When she said that honey stick, I was looking at my pot and saying, see, that's what I should have drawn.
In fact, you should draw the pot itself.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. Should have drawn the pot itself, which I will next time.
And
I
Yeah,
even
did
yeah,
look
the
at my
honeycomb
picture on
design,
the.
you can make
Yeah,
even a
that's also
honeycomb
honeycomb
design on it.
design.
I just
Yeah,
saw one. It was really
yeah,
pretty.
yeah. Pretty,
yeah.
no?
The base.
Yeah, yeah. So as I'm saying, I mean, if we don't wait for the occasion, make
I
the
know.
occasion, make the
Yeah,
occasion. Look
yeah,
in the kitchen for something that is that will
yeah.
show you,
I've put mine on the group, Susan.
yeah, okay. I haven't looked on it. Oh, nice. See, when
I
you
put
added color,
tablecloths and all. Yeah, because then I didn't know
yeah,
what to do.
yeah, but did
So
you
I
know what?
made lots of bright colors and
Yeah,
little cloths and stuff like that.
very nice. No,
Now
it's
it's
quite
not
nice
looking
now,
so
Elaine.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually looking quite nice. And see,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, for this particular now, if you look at it carefully, look for scope for things to have come in.
Yes.
The
Yes.
scope is here on the right side.
Yes,
The right
exactly.
could definitely have had something. And
Yes.
it is not too late. You can still consider putting that milk bottle we were talking about.
Yes.
There is no harm in having a milk bottle standing out.
Right.
If the only thing is your line has become a little too long. That's the only
Yeah.
problem. But
Yeah.
otherwise, the milk bottle would have perfectly fit in that
Fit it
space.
there.
Yeah.
And also on the side, maybe next time it would be nice to make some kind of a border, a kitchen theme border
Yeah,
of the whole
absolutely.
thing, and then just one embellishment. Say if it's a very long recipe with lots of stuff, then you
Yeah.
just make a thin border with a nice
Border is enough. Yes, yes.
and then
Border is
one
more.
little element somewhere which goes with the recipe. You know, I mean, awesome.
Yes, yes. And if you don't have space for border,
Yeah.
like I always tell you, this double border business, no, this double border
Yes, yes.
thing,
Double
that is
line looks
also
lovely.
looks
Yeah.
lovely. And all you need to do is like Aditi normally does, for maps. She puts
Yeah.
those little dashes
Hmm.
and look pretty means pretty. You don't need to
Yeah.
do anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are also great options. This would have looked nice if it had a thin one
Thin
around.
double border. That
Just
you
enough.
can do.
I can still probably do, yeah.
Yeah. But Susan, thank you so much for all your lessons because they were wonderfully easy, wonderfully doable, and we had a great time.
I'm
And
glad. Thank you.
you're not on our art group on Tuesday, right? Are
I
you
am
on
on the
any
art
art group?
I am
Art
on the
from
Tuesday
home.
art group. Art from home, I'm there, of course, but I'm saying I'm on the
No.
Tuesday group right now.
Now, no. Once we start lessons
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Aditi, you're not there
No,
with us, no.
yeah, no, not usually attending class. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's okay. That doesn't matter. We
No,
can.
I just I
We'll
said
be in
later
touch.
when you share your
Yeah, yeah.
work. What I meant was because you're
Hmm.
here, you're sharing your work. So
Yeah.
share your work, any new ideas that you do.
Yeah.
Then we
That
can
for
kind
sure.
of watch you on Instagram live.
Yeah, I go live occasionally,
Yeah,
not very
yeah.
often, only when time permits. But I do go on Instagram and I get a bright idea. So I
Yeah.
got
So
a
that's the time.
theme.
Just message us so we don't miss it.
Yeah. I'll do that. I'll definitely do that. It's fun. It's fun.
Okay.
I've got a new idea with the kids
What?
for what is it? Stained glass, watercolor stained glass. Yesterday I did it and it was so much of fun.
Yeah. Where is it?
Planning to explore. No, for my kids in church. On Fridays, on some Fridays, they ask me to take a class. And then when they ask me to take a class, I'm out of ideas. Last Friday, I was supposed to teach them how to draw shells. I drew some shells and I realized that the little ones are not going to be able to do any of that. So I cancelled it and I said, let's not do shells.
Yeah.
Let's do something the little ones like. So
Yeah.
I explored the concept of stained glass. And yesterday, all I did was take that black color crayon and put the entire border of the stained glass and went in on top of it with watercolor. Just wiped down all red and mixed into yellow, yellow mixed into green, all sorts of things. And it turned out so beautifully.
How nice.
I was really impressed. So I said, let me do a little more study on that. And
Yeah.
it makes so beautiful designs. It's very much like mosaic.
So you don't
but
have
the
a
difference-
picture of it?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I took a photo. Yeah, I
That's
wanted to
what I
send it
mean,
on the
a
group.
photograph.
Yeah. I have a photo. I have a photo because I have to teach it on Friday to the kids. So I showed them
So
I took a photo. Hold on. It should be
the
here.
photograph of the kids on your phone, your wallpaper, so cute. They're all dressed up and beaming and looking the
Christmas.
Sunday total best. My look at the little fellow with his brothers and his shirt, absolutely angelic. And I love Hannah. Oh my goodness.
This is after Christmas.
So
I
adorable.
made there was so much of material. There was so
Yeah.
much of material for the girls' dresses
I
that
lay.
I made a tie for him from the same
Time for him,
leftover.
how sweet he's looking. And look at the smile. My goodness.
Yeah.
The little one is just
Exciting, huh?
bright
This
as
photo
a
was
penny.
the only moment they were like
Yeah.
big beam,
She's
beaming smile.
really
And
as
next was
bright
she
as a
pinched me,
penny.
she looked at me,
Hmm.
all that. I should just, let me just 1 minute. This one is
Yeah.
here. Yeah,
So
I'll show you. Yesterday I sent this message. So
What happened? Neeta got
Neeta had to
disconnected.
go off early. She had to go off early. Oh, look at that.
so easy
Beautiful.
for the kids. Look at
Beautiful.
this.
Oh my. Very easy.
So the
And
kids are going to
very,
really enjoy this.
yeah.
And at the same time, I did this with crayon, black crayon. I just took
Yeah.
black crayon because every child has got black,
Yeah.
wax colors and
Yeah.
oil colors and all oil pastels and all that. So I said, let's take black and draw all these borders
Huh.
and
then fill up with color.
fill it up with this thing. That's it.
Wonderful.
So I'm going to be doing this with the kids. Great fun.
Lovely. Lovely.
Yeah.
Chalo, we shall
All
go.
right.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Have
See you
fun.
Yeah,
soon.
thank you.
Yeah.
We enjoyed.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had thank you because it gave me some confidence to teach others. I was like,
Now
all
your page at the end on the recording, I mean, when you do that, that is perfect. You always do the page up and it's there for the recording.
she showed
Very
me, Aditi
nice.
showed me how to do it. And then she said,
Wow.
please make sure you do it every class. I was like,
Oh
oh
my
no.
goodness.
My
Yeah, I
goodness.
can imagine how much pressure that is. Making it finish it and
Was
because
completing
finishing
one
the
only
book-
something.
I know.
I'm telling
I
you, I have never
finished.
been so consistent with my
I-
book since I have had to teach. Now
Yeah.
for the last 10 pages are complete. I'm like so impressed with
Wow.
myself.
Super, yeah, that's
Okay.
what happened. Bye bye.
What happens when you teach? You have
Yes,
to finish it.
you have to be,
finish it.
yes, you have to be, yes.
Yeah.
Bye,
All
bye,
right.
Janica.
Bye.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.